Greetings, everybody. It is Saturday, June 8th, 2013. It's been a while since I've done one of these, since we've had our ongoing dialogue, and been fairly busy on both the professional and personal front, certainly, over the past couple of months. And before I get too far into this, a sincere thank you to all of you, everybody who expressed their heartfelt thoughts and sentiment on the passing of my dad that occurred on April 30th. He was 86. He was about ready to celebrate his 60th wedding anniversary with his wife. And the family is doing fine. Certainly the circle of life rears its head. But family is doing wonderfully. We know that he is in a wonderful place right now. And the stories I could share in terms of testimonials as he was passing into the next phase of his life, and the things that he saw and the things that he said were just truly inspirational and truly a validation of those of us that carry a strong faith in knowing that what we have on this earth is just a very small window of what is a much larger home. So again, thank you, really, everybody who sent emails, thoughts, cards, flowers. It was very much appreciated. It is very nice to know that there is a very tight-knit trading community, and we can be there to pick each other up, and so on and so forth. So it's been a busy time at this end. Certainly been helping my mom take care of her business affairs, and that's all going well. So again, thank you. Boy, where are we now? June, early June. What is going on? The book Chronicles of a $1 Million Trader is basically all set to make its release. If you go on the Amazon site, in fact, you'll see now a preview where you can look inside the book and see a certain amount of the contents to give you a better feel for what's in there. As I've said before, it has really struck me in terms of the work that goes into one of these. Those of you that followed me over the last couple of years, or really over the last 10 years or so, maybe even more than that. No, I've been fairly hard at times on the trading educational community and on the press, and made a very conscious decision to, as some might suggest, flip over to the other side, but to do so because I thought that I had done enough moaning and groaning over the years, and felt that I had some experiences and was able to provide hopefully some insights in such a way that, maybe in a different way, there's a lot of good stuff out there, but in a different way that might try to pull everything together. There are, as in any industry and over the internet, there's a lot of good out there, and there's a lot of not so good out there. I'm trying to be in the former group, although I know that I will fail from time to time, and I appreciate everyone who allows for my humanity to sneak in every now and then. But when I made that decision really a couple years ago when I got back into education, and then especially to take up Wiley's invitation to do the book, it really has given me an opportunity to take a look back, certainly at my life and my career and in my various careers, and put the trading piece of it in some perspective, both when I was doing it part-time, both when I was doing it full-time, and it's been a very healthy experience for me. And I hope that comes across in such a way that it can be an inspiration to all of you. When you read the first part of the book, and especially the introduction part, it talks a lot about my hesitancy in doing this, because I wanted to do it for the right reasons. I wanted to get the right thoughts and words across, and I'm hopeful that I did that. But I've chosen my words carefully. I've chosen the passages carefully, and I know full well one of the risks in doing so is thinking that people can read a book or come on this blog or take the jelly courses or whatever, and all of a sudden become some magical instant trader. And as I've stated repeatedly in the book, that was never the case with me. I've been very public, even going back to the 90s, and stating my early challenges. And I think what I've been able to do now is look back at that time in my life, for example, and really identify what my shortcomings were at that point in my life, whether it was lack of experience, lack of education, too much of an ego, whatever it may be, and kind of walk myself through that then led to the years of the 2000s and beyond. And again, it's been very healthy for me to do that. I will say with full confidence that the work is hopefully among some of the better things that I've done in terms of trying to bring continued transparency to the industry. It's very difficult to do this without, and I mentioned this at the outset in the book, without some ego slipping in. It's a very fine line between being confident in what you're talking about because you know what you're talking about, and flipping over to the other side where you've got ego, cockiness, or whatever, and you see that all the time in sports. See that all the time. I just finished watching the Boston Bruins Pittsburgh Penguins series where, the Penguins were loaded with stars and talent on paper, and they thought they could just walk on the ice and wipe the ice, if you will, with the Bruins. And the Bruins swept them in 4 games, only allowed this high-scoring offense to score 2 goals over 4 games. I mean, it's kind of taken the sports world and turned it upside down a bit. And, the same thing is true in this industry. And so, again, there's a fine line between confidence and what you're talking about. For some reason, I guess I've been told I've been given a bit of a gift in being able to write and talk and communicate and explain, not just as the teller of the story, but also of the person that is the doer. Someone who certainly reached a certain point in his career, accomplished some things that very, very few people do, and was able to write about it, and was able to do that in the first person. And I would challenge those that might think that maybe this is a bit of a personal ego trip, to go to the Amazon site and look at least the preview pages. I will say, as I look back, it's something I'm very proud of. Pride is also a careful thing where it's a very fine line. I don't mean pride in a negative way, but maybe a better word is satisfied. I am very, very satisfied with the work. Thank you so much to the team at Wiley, John Wiley and Sons, who put up with my many changes and just wanting to get it right. And I'm sure now that it's going to press, there'll still be a few things that I will have thought of differently, or a different way to say things. But I'm very, very pleased. It will remain to be seen in terms of where it stands in terms of history. Certainly the challenge was put forth in front of me to do an update of Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, which will always be known as the classic of trading books among the zillions out there. I hope that we've been able to do that proud. But I will look back at this phase in my life and know that I did leave it all out there. I left it all out on the court, the ice, or whatever, in this case, in the pages. So, I'm kind of babbling here, but I'm at a point now where I can look back at this phase in my life and say, okay, what has come of it? A lot of self-checking along the way. Again, are we doing this for the right reasons? And again, history will decide whether we did or not. The initial reviews certainly have been very, very favorable. Belinda Ratchkey, Larry Connors, James Catoulis, Steve Demirist at MB, and the reviews that are out there so far have been very favorably, and I again thank them for their help in doing this. So again, it's on the site. It's you want to spend $20-25 on it, whatever it is, great. We will continue to further our charity missions. We've teamed up with the One Fund in Boston. That, as you may know, is providing relief for victims of the Boston Marathon bombing. It's an official charity. You can go on their site. There's a link on this site certainly to that and find out more about that. I was very honored to be able to go to the One Fund Boston concert, Boston Strong concert a few weeks ago, where they brought back a lot of the New England-based bands that were in their heyday in the 70s, and even some that are still now. Boston, the musical group, Aerosmith, James Taylor, Carole King. It was just an incredible night, and continues to put certainly life in perspective in terms of success and what heroism is really all about. That's real life. The book and what we do in trading and trading education and trading performance is business. It's a career. It's a way to fend for yourself and fend for your family. It's a business. It's a career. It's an endeavor. But it certainly pales and always will in comparison to the people that are true heroes. And we need to make sure that we keep ourselves in check and in perspective. But that was a wonderful exercise I had the opportunity to be a part of, and it was really good. A couple of other things. There is an online trading expo that's going to be put on in July. They've been doing this for a little bit anyway. They're live webcasts, and I think they're going to be archived as well. And I'll put a link in this post on moneyshow.com. And if you want to save the date, Friday, July 19th, from 1:30 to 2 o'clock, I'm going to be doing a session which I'm calling Creating Outliers to Maximize Trade and Career Gains. I'm going to talk a little bit about one of the key principles in the Jelly program, key principles in my life, key principles in the book, in terms of what trading is all about. And it's about maximizing gains, whether it be a trade sequence, a phase in your career, but maximizing the gain during that particular interval, and using that tool to drive earnings, to drive your career, to drive confidence. And you see that in life, you see that in trading, you see that in sports. But again, it's called Creating Outliers to Maximize Trade and Career Gains. That'll be a half-hour session. And again, I'll have the link to that. I've also been asked to participate in the International Trading Expo coming up. The Money Show puts on in Las Vegas in November. I'll provide more information as I get there. And yes, in the past, I have been very, very selective in doing these things. I've not done many. I did one in New York a couple of years ago. We filled more than filled the room. But it's something I try to do fairly selectively. And thought it might be helpful to do that once again. And yes, I've been somewhat critical in the past. And at one point, I think I said that I would, you would probably never see me at one of these things. But as I said at the beginning of the book when I wrote it, that we do have to rethink. I know that when things are done with the right intentions and the right motives, then it is the right thing to do. I've said no to writing a book for ages. Thought it was wrong, thought it was, this and that. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that, look, you've got a story to tell, and it's an important story to tell, and it's a story that hopefully can help others. And so put all your prior feelings aside and just do it, but try to do it with the best of intentions. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to visit my daughter while I'm out there. She's in California. We're going to make a weekend of it. So again, that's coming up in November. What else going on? I've got this little plaque on my desk here. I'll read it to you here. It says, 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did. So throw off the bowline, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails. Explore, dream, and discover. I saw this in a store recently. I had to pick it up and put it on my desk. Also watched the, the Exotic Marigold Hotel movie, or that's not the official title, but something like that. The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, maybe. And there's a line in there, and this line's been out on the web and in various places over the years, but it's basically something that says, in the end, everything will be all right, and if it's not all right, it's not yet the end. And again, as I've gone through some recent personal challenges and family challenges, and certainly the business, my entire business career, the more that makes sense. Traders tend to be an impatient bunch, if you haven't noticed. We're after the short-term, high-probability result, which is typically there. But again, to keep perspective, if in the end things are going to be okay, and it's not okay, it's not the end. A little corny, but very, very true. What else? I think that there's been some wonderful market patterns. I've often said the only thing that should prevent people from profiting in this business is focus and showing up. And it's how bad do you want it? I've been corresponding recently with a trader who continues to struggle. I keep reminding people I struggled in one way or another for close to a decade, and was able to stay in the game long enough to finally figure it out and to manage demons and to, as this plaque says, ride the wave or sail away and catch the trade winds in your sails. But not everybody's going to make it. Not everybody who takes the Jelly program is going to make it. Not everybody who reads my books. I mean, the deck is stacked against us. More people will fail than succeed. All we're trying to do in this business, those of us who try to reach out to others, is increase the probability of success. In a business where failure rate is depending upon what study you read, 70, 80, 90%. Small businesses fail. It's a small business. It's money related, so you've got all that combining into a very high failure rate. And so, gosh darn it, let's do something about it. But let's not all go stick our heads in the sand and basically say that this is not doable or we can't make it or blah, blah, blah. I think everybody should have a career stop loss in place. I've had one. I've always had one. I still have one. You'll see that in the book. There's a wonderful graph that shows that. Protect yourself. Okay, go for your dreams. But if this doesn't work out, have a method in there by which you're protected. Fallback plan. I have always had one. I still have one. Right? I've resorted to it from time to time. So, so much I could talk about. A lot of energy pent up here based on not having spoken for the past couple of months. But when I go off the grid, I guess this tends to happen. What else? I've offered to Linda Ratchke a friendly wager on the Bruins Blackhawks Stanley Cup Finals if Chicago does, in fact, beat L.A. Sorry to everybody out in L.A. We'll see if that transpires, see if she takes me up on that. Very good friend, very good comrade, who's been very supportive of our efforts in education and with a book. So in terms of the market, I think there's some great market patterns out there, folks. I've not been as active as I should be in terms of posting what I see in the blog. I'm thinking of doing some more things with Twitter from a trading perspective. I'll leave that seed to plant in your minds. Just some wonderful patterns, bull patterns, continuation patterns, large triangles. Just have to be aware of the environment, be there, show up, and make it work. So that's about all I have. Again, thank you to everybody for giving me some privacy over the past couple of months. Thank you for your support of the effort. If you're interested in taking a peek at the book, go to the Amazon link, take a peek inside, see what see if you like what you see, and if it does, wonderful. Spend the $25 or whatever it is. Other than that, folks, have a wonderful summer. Have a great trading week coming up. And remember, it's all about, your ability to manage life. You are not alone. We are not alone. We have a small window here of time, but there's a much bigger picture than any of us will ever see. And to learn more about that, you can read some of the passages in the book. So again, God bless all of you. Thank you for your support, and we'll make this a little bit more frequent in nature going forward. Thank you so much. Have a great week.